You know, I was very tempted to make today's video about the Wogan versus Björkman controversy that sprang up between last night and today, but I don't really have much to say on the matter. It's not that Krista waited until Wogan was dead to say what he said. He waited until he was asked and then gave his honest opinion. And I'm not going to say anything else on the matter because I know people are taking this stupid personally. So, on with the actual video instead. Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons. Today's the 16th day of VEDA, and it's a Saturday. Yep, because today is Saturday, and therefore it's a Saturday. Logic. Which means it's time for another one of my shower thought moments where I think deep thoughts about a thing. And I promise this week's thing won't be about Eurovision, it'll be about the other main thing in my life, which is video games. Now, last night I did spend quite a lot of time just lying down thinking, okay, what should I make tomorrow's video about? Because believe it or not, you can't just will yourself to have these deep thoughts. I just sat back and thought, okay, what should I talk about? What matters to me that I can think deeply about? And it occurred to me, right, you could do that thing about Krista Björkman, or you could do something non-Eurovision for a change, and that isn't likely to spark a load of controversy and hate. And so that's what I'm going with. The topic of discussion for today is video games and their prices, because as someone who lives in the UK, I get hit by it pretty fucking hard. Now, I've heard that Australia has it the worst out of the, I would say out of all the world that, out of the main video gaming market, out of the Western world, even though Australia's actually very southern and eastern, but you know what I mean. Of the first world, I suppose, Australia has it the worst when it comes to video game prices, but the UK's got it pretty bad. A lot of Europe has it pretty bad. America's got it, I don't know what it's like in Japan. I feel like there should be I forget which book it is. Is it Brave New World or 19-something-something? There's some book where people, as they're born, are categorized as either A, B, C, or D, and then that dictates their social class and then the rest of their life for them, and yeah. Obviously, I'm not advocating doing that in real life, because that's kind of, sort of eugenics, but I feel like there should be a system like that for video games which dictates their price globally, because as it currently stands, a price is set for a game in Japan, that's then translated into US dollars, and then from there it just sort of falls apart, because when the game gets exported to Europe, to convert the price over to our currency, they just shave off the dollar sign and replace it with a euro sign. That's not how currency conversion works, and so we end up paying over the odds for it. And then they do the same thing from euros to pounds, or something very similar anyway. Now, a good example of why this is really bad is in the border region between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, there are branches of McDonald's, and in the UK, McDonald's has the Pound Saver menu, where anything on that menu costs £1, which is fine. But in the rest of Europe, in Eurozone countries, they have the Euro Saver instead, where it's exactly the same menu, but you pay €1 instead, which is cheaper. So people from Northern Ireland can just, well, if they live near the border, they can just nip across the border to the Republic of Ireland, or I assume that's how it works anyway. I don't know if it's worth going all the way across a border just to go to McDonald's and save a little bit of money by buying the same thing for €1 instead of £1, but in theory that's how it works, and so this is why I have doubts about the exact process when it comes to converting prices from America to Europe, because maybe they do convert the price from dollars to euros, but even if they do, even in the rest of Europe, prices of video games are too damn high. And even in non-Euro countries, so places like Sweden, where they use the krona, or, well, I can't really speak about other countries, because all the countries that I've been to, when I've been of a video game buying age, that sell video games that I can play in my home country, so of the PAL region countries that I've been to, when I've been of an age where I'm into buying video games, they all use the euro now. I mean, yes, I've been on holiday to Spain when they used the peseta, and I've been to Italy when they used the lira, but beyond that, Well, I was really young at the time anyway. Beyond that, I've been to Denmark briefly, but that was a 1 hour stopover between flights. And the point is, Sweden's the only country that I've been to besides the UK that doesn't use the euro, but that I can still buy video games from. And the point is, the prices be cray-cray all over. And what I'm trying to say here is there should be some sort of video game gold standard. Like, we should take video games and analyze their background, their worth, their value, and assign them a class. A letter-based class, perhaps, or, I don't know, maybe a hiragana-based class to try and get the world to learn the Japanese alphabets. Let's say, for example, a letter-based system, because we already have the notion of a AAA game, so why not just start from there? Have a fixed price for AAA games, and then work your way down from there. So, honestly, I think this is why Steam is such an appealing platform, because games are charged more or less what they're worth. So, when it comes to physical games you can own, and this could be console games, this could be PC games that you get on a disc, if those still exist, I don't know. AAA games should have a fixed price, and then so on down to Z-list games being 10p, I don't know. But the idea is, games are expensive and there's no good reason for it, because similar to the perfume industry, a lot of the price that goes into a video game when it's sold is to do with its marketing. I have studied video games as a university course. I know this shit. This is leaking information from the inside here, but with perfume and video games, most of the price goes into the marketing, and they still have plenty of windfall. What frustrates me, though, is that when I was younger, home console games were about £25 to £30, and then handheld games were about 15 to 20. And then as I've got older, that price has gone up, and it's gotten stupid. So, for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Wii U games, you're looking at £50 to £60, which is more than double the price they used to be. And for handheld games, for the 3DS, and, well, actually the 3DS is the only handheld that anyone uses. Sorry, Sony, but your Vita can suck it. Those cost upwards of £35 to £40, and no! That's too much! So I think, when it comes to determining a class for a video game on which to base its price, it should be, I think, a two-part coordinate, where half of the game's value is determined by its class, so AAA game, and then the other part should be determined by its platform. Not necessarily exactly which company's console, but what level of console. So handheld. So if you had a handheld AAA, that should cost less than a handheld home console. So really, in an ideal world, for me, a home console AAA would be £35. A handheld AAA would be £30, and it should only go downwards from there. Now, if companies or game shops or whatever want to apply discounts the way Steam does, that's fine. I don't think there should be any regulations on that. If they want to do discounts, that's fine. But I don't like the idea of paying double or more of what a game is worth just to get it, just because I want it in 2016 and not 2006. Plus, I suppose you could say, oh, does that mean that a AAA game should always cost £35? I think that should be 35 at a maximum, and then if it's pre-owned or if it's a few years older, if there's not as much demand for it, then the price can come down. I suppose, come to think of it, it should be a three-part coordinate then. So, to determine the exact class of a game, you've got its letter class, so let's say, for example, AAA, and then its console, which is either home or handheld, and then its desirability rating. And between the three, you can somehow form some sort of mathematical equation to work out how much a game should be charged, where at its absolute maximum. So, if we were to say a game that's AAA, home console, 100% desired, if that adds up to being £35, but each component of that doesn't equate to 33% of that price, the weighting is distributed somewhat unevenly, I'm sure there's some way of working out a hard, solid mathematical formula of working out what each rank would be worth and how to determine the price of it. It might be a complicated system to develop, but once it's been developed and put in place, it doesn't need tweaking. Yes, it might need some adjusting for inflation, but my thought here is, I'm thinking of it in British pounds, but really they should think of it in something like Bitcoin, a universal currency that no one actually uses, and then use that as the gold standard, and then convert it into whichever currency. So, from Bitcoin to yen, Bitcoin to US dollars, Bitcoin to euros, Bitcoin to Australian dollars, Bitcoin to pounds, etc., etc. A good sideways example of why the current system is bad is the game Pokemon Vietnamese Crystal, which is Pokemon Crystal, but it's the Japanese version translated badly into English, then into Chinese, then into Vietnamese, then back into English, or something like that. It's been translated through a whole bunch of languages and has ended up with quotes like, "I abhor the trashy man, don't serve the devil." It's full of broken English that makes no sense whatsoever. Similarly, if you convert a currency between a whole load of different nations and back again, the price makes no sense whatsoever. So I think there should be this gold standard formulaic system. I mean, we have this for, well, I keep referring to a gold standard. We have the notion of gold being a certain price, a certain value, regardless of the currency it's being paid for in. And that applies to a whole load of other resources as well. So why do video games get the shaft here when it's the highest grossing entertainment industry on the planet? Seems a little bit stupid, doesn't it? But that's just food for thought that I've diarrheaed out of my mouth. And I don't really have much else to say on the matter that won't make this repetitive or ranty or whatever, so I will say that I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons. I think a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, and I will see you in whichever video of mine you happen to choose to watch next, if you even chose to watch this one. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, but I mean, whatever. No harm done. I will see you whenever.